You won't be able to hear anything, but only the beautiful viewers can hear the soft music playing at the moment. I do want to say that this music is not ours. It may be copyrighted by various places. Just putting that out there. So,
I can hear you, but I can't hear music.
Yeah, you said you wouldn't be able to.
yeah,
I have the stream up. I should be able to hear music.
Oh.
you can't hear it. What about now?
I can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything. Well, that's not good.
Yeah, nothing. And we've lost. It's a dark screen or dark.
Yeah, no, it's supposed to be. You still don't hear anything? Can you at least hear us?
You can hear us.
Okay, well then I'm just gonna cut.
I can barely hear it.
Okay, well then I'm just gonna cut it because for some reason it doesn't want to lower on my end and it's super freaking loud for me. So, we are doing a little one shot, a little noir one shot.
So we're like live,
We're live right now.
Dear God.
Dude.
I didn't say anything
Offensive? Okay.
offensive.
We are doing a one shot right now, only with everything going on in the world. Our area has gone under a sort of lockdown.
House arrest?
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah, we're on house arrest. That's fair.
So we'll be doing one shots. That's why Clifford is wearing headphones right now. And yeah. We descend upon a rainy city, late night, onto the Fox Detective Agency. 2 people inside right now. One, the beautiful, illustrious, very colorful dwarven woman.
Hey, honey, how's it going?
As she sits there, filling out files, she looks up at the door as a shadow casts on the glass, and in walks the very illustrious, the very famous Miss Montgomery, renowned wealthy woman of the world, with her husband, a very renowned, in his own means, researcher in the evocation magics of the world, Dr. Montgomery. Lately, Montgomery and his wife have been in the papers a lot. With her family's financial backings, and his brilliant mind, they were able to cheat death for a little girl with some incurable disease. Though it was vague, and you don't remember much of it. Miss Montgomery now stands in front of you, Petunia.
What can I do you for?
She looks down on you and with a nice smile, and you can see from this angle, she is a very voluptuous woman, and the dress she is wearing does it for her. Holds everything just right. And she just...
Oh, honey, that dress is stunner on you.
She smiles a big smile and bashfully waves you away and just... I've heard that the Fox Detective Agency was a good place to turn to when you've had enough. I can't stand the police anymore, and I need help.
Oh, what kind of help do you need?
Well, are you the detective?
Oh, no, honey, no. I'm just their secretary.
Oh, could I speak with the detective then? I don't want to have to repeat this twice.
Sir, are you in? I don't know if he's in.
Are you in?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So. Oh my God, I'm scared. Okay. So the door opens, and you see a fairly tall, kind of thin lithe. Humanoid. He's got fairly thin features, kind of pointed, and little tufts of fur, like on the elongated ears, a little bit on the sides of the face. And the arm has a little bit of tufts of fur, and you see two tails swinging behind him.
Miss Montgomery turns to you and goes, "Are you the detective?"
Yeah, here. I don't want to do it. I can't do it. Yes, Detective Tony Graves.
Well, Detective Graves, I can no longer stand dealing with the buffoons in the law enforcement, and I require your unconventional assistance. I'm willing to pay whatever it takes to find the truth.
Well, here now, you're speaking my language. Why don't you come into my office?
She nods and follows graciously behind you, the sound of her heels clicking on the wet hardwood floors.
As Tony turns around and walks away, you see it's kind of like a long coat, almost like a cape, and it just kind of billows around him as if there was a wind in the room.
Constant wind. As you enter the smoke-filled office,
sit in my seat. Say, here, have a seat.
she sits down, trying not to touch anything.
Yeah.
She looks towards you and goes, "I'll cut right to the point. My husband, the brilliant Dr. Montgomery, has gone missing. And I know something is wrong. I just know it. He never goes missing. I want you to find him, detective."
Oh, what do you know about this? How long has he been gone?
I'm unsure. All I know is he was on the verge of a great breakthrough. It was going to change medical science as we know it.
Anything to do with that article a few weeks back about that young girl?
An accident in the field. He saved her, but he wasn't sure how. He hasn't been able to reproduce it since. And because of that, he got angry and shut himself in his study, as he does when the gabber of the world begins to bother him. And
Was he in his study the last time you saw him?
last time I saw him, he was downstairs in the kitchen, arguing with the staff about how to properly cook the chicken masu. And it was later that day he locked himself away. But after 2 days, I had the servants remove the door, and they discovered Mr. Montgomery was gone.
Were any of the windows open? Anything tampered with? Was his office overturned?
Oh, I don't know, dear. I went up to look, and when I seen he wasn't in there, I immediately called the long arm of the law, and they showed up, and they looked the place over and said there was no sign of a break-in or a struggle or anything. They think he was never in the room.
You think he was in the closet? just thinking, honey. Did they check everywhere?
The room had no closet. There was only one door and 3 windows. And the door was locked from the inside.
You think maybe he's just trying to escape his life? I had a life before this, and I escaped it. I escaped it rather well. Maybe he opened a window, climbed himself out of there, and shut it behind him. Maybe just to make it look like nothing happened.
She stands up in a huff and turns towards you. "Are you insinuating my husband, my dear Dr. Montgomery, was unhappy and ran away?"
Not unhappy with you, ma'am. No offense to you, ma'am. I'm thinking the
I don't know. And she sits down in a huff, just all dramatic, laying back in the chair.
All right now. Let's take a moment. Let's calm down.
Honey, I am calm. You don't want to see me when I'm not calm. You know this.
I know this.
She sits up and goes, I don't care the price. I just want you to find him. I want to know where my dear Dr. Montgomery is.
Gosh. Sorry, I gotta go look over my nose. Okay, so how long has it been since you called the police?
It's been 1 week. And they spent 3 days searching the same room over and over again, and they found nothing.
Well, don't you think if they search one room over and over again, don't you think that's a little insane? You know, it's one room. There's an entire house to look over.
That's what I thought. But they looked at me as if I was just some ditzy wife with nothing more than daddy's money behind me.
All right.
I kind of give Graves the look of like, that's kind of what I'm getting at here.
Kind of like a little tip of the hat, getting the.
Getting that vibe.
Yeah.
Getting that vibe.
I'll go. Okay. What about his favorite spots? You know, any bars, any clubs? What about his work? Anybody see him? Anybody heard anything?
Well, the officers said when they went to the hospital where Montgomery worked that the staff hadn't seen him in weeks, and as for anything else, I don't really know. Montgomery asked for money. I give him the money, and it's for the good of what he's trying to accomplish.
Can I roll an insight to see if she's being like she's trying to cover her tracks in any way?
Go for it.
Let me find it here. Fucking thing is so small.
You could zoom in.
It doesn't help the modifier numbers. It really doesn't. It just makes them smaller. Makes everything else bigger.
Well, that's just silly.
15.
15. She sounds sincere, a very worried woman, and is probably telling, if not 100% the truth, at least 90%.
I go over to her and I grab her hand. Honey, I'm sorry for what I said, but don't worry, we will find your husband. Graves, work out a price.
As you grab her hand, you can see like the slight green tinge of her skin, and you can now see the little bottom teeth peeking up inside her mouth.
Oh.
She gets in close and gives you a hug, and she just stands up and goes, "Whatever the cost, you just tell me the price after everything, and I'll pay it. Whether you find him alive, dead, or somewhere in between, I will pay it."
Why would you assume that he's dead?
I just want you to know that no matter the outcome, you will get paid. I'm not the type that will find some way out of a deal.
And Graves stands up and, don't worry, ma'am. We'll find your husband. Can we start at your house? Maybe we'll find something the police didn't see.
That's fine by me. There's not enough room in my vehicle, so I'll meet you there.
Yeah, just leave your address with my secretary. Because I can't remember her name. What's your name?
The name's Wilds. Petunia Wilds.
Okay.
She stands up and hands Petunia a business card. Rustles your hair as she walks by. Not aggressively. And walks out, and you can hear her sobbing as she walks away. Leaving the two of yous.
Well, Mr. Graves, I know I don't accompany you on many of your assignments, but I'd like to take some time to help you with this one.
Puts out the cigarette. Yeah, I think I'll need some extra help with this one. This one seems a little tricky. Pulls his hat off, pulls out another cigarette, lights it.
It's just hat?
Oh no, it is
Yep,
pristine
it's
and
perfect.
clean.
Oh yeah, it's perfect, 100%. I love it.
As the two of you leave the detective agency, it is raining. The pitter patter of water hitting the glass just outside the building.
Takes his hat off, pulls out an umbrella.
Just fucking Mary Poppins this bitch.
As you two get to the door, you're stopped by the high elven gentleman. Very happy looking fella, rotund for an elf. And he approaches and goes, "Ma, what are you two doing out of your office?" And you two recognize this. It is Robert Thiggins. He's the owner of the building.
Oh.
And, you two down here to pay rent? 6 months behind.
Oh, you know, we're on a case of a mighty big haul. We'll have your rent, don't you worry.
Cases of the game's afoot.
He walks up, all smiles, and just pushes you slightly on the shoulder, Graves, and goes, "Maybe this one will pay out, unlike the last couple you had." Pats his belly a little bit.
Graves blows a puff into his face. Trust me, it will.
I hope for your sake it does, Graves. And he looks down at you, Miss Wilds, and takes your hand and I hope you have a nice time out there, Miss Wilds. Remember to stay dry. He just boops your nose a little.
I'm drier than a desert when you're around.
He blushes a little in sort of a sad way and just, "Oh, Petunia.
Not a compliment, honey.
Petunia.
Oh.
And he turns around and
Higgins.
walks back to his office, chuckling the whole time.
Also, I would like to point out, now that we're outside, I've put like this luxurious, like purple, like flowing trench coat on.
That's amazing.
Beautiful long pink boa.
Just poking out the top of it slightly. You two walk out, and it is raining slightly. Not a heavy rain, but enough to dampen the roads and the stonework everywhere. And a couple vehicles go by. It is a quiet night. It'll take you probably 2 hours if you were to walk to the Montgomery Manor.
Do we have a car?
Or you could take your car. Be warned, as you walk up to it, Miss Petunia, you forgot to fill it up last time. You're only at a quarter tank.
Probably.
You got any money for gas? I got nothing. They haven't paid me this week yet.
Oh, shit. I take out the 10 gold pieces that I have, and I give you 5. It's like, this will have to do for the rest.
Well, I hope so. I don't know what the price of gas is right now.
I don't know.
Maybe that cute gas attendant will give me another favor.
You make your way to the gas station. And it is not the cute gas attendant, it's his gruff boss, a female, full-blown orc in her massiveness, and 5 gold buys you a little bit of gas, but not a whole lot.
It goes all my money.
Well,
You two.
honey, you look ravishing tonight.
She just stares at you. Make a persuasion roll.
It's the lights, isn't it? You got new lights in here. Persuasion?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a 10.
A 10. She leans over the counter and like the pudge of her arms pressing into the edge of the counter. She just looks at you. Miss Petunia, you flatter me so, but I won't be having any of your shenanigans tonight. Looks out to Graves pumping the gas. And last time Graves was here, I had to replace 3 windows.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I do not speak for Mr. Graves, but
I'm tempted to bill your agency for those 3 windows. She leans over and goes.
Last night.
She leans even closer and goes, "But I seen your last show, Miss Wilds, and it was quite the spectacle.
Why, thank you.
So this one time, I will let it go." She stands back up.
Appreciate that.
You two make your way back into the car, down the road. And soon you find yourself at the very, I guess you could say, quaint manor of the Montgomerys. It's a newer place, unlike other manors in the area. It is small. It's only built for the needs of 2 people. They don't host many parties. They are very closed off. They'll go to parties, but they don't hold any. As you approach, the gates are open. The staff member at the gate is standing there, sees you, waves as you go by. He's an older man. You continue up the road, park in front of the manor. It's still a sizable manor. It's just not huge. Walking up to the door, you're let in by the doorman, given a little towel so you can dry off your face.
Shake out my umbrella, flatten it, put it back in the hat.
I'm used to being this wet. It's fine.
You two are now in the home of the Montgomerys. A very fancy home. Plenty of marble everywhere. Busts of famous novelists and actors all over the place. And as you walk in, Mrs. Montgomery is standing there, and she is taking a sip of gin, looks towards you, and goes, "His office is upstairs. You're more than welcome to investigate it."
Okay.
Ma'am,
Sick.
while we look through your husband's office, maybe could you get a list of the servants? I think that's what you called it. The kitchen staff. The staff that he was speaking with the day he went missing.
"I will go talk to them immediately." And she turns dramatically. She's still wearing slightly wet clothes as she turns. It sort of splashes the couch behind her. And she is off.
Fair. I'm gonna, with Petunia, I guess, head up to the study, the office.
Okay. When you get up to the office, it is a mess. There are items everywhere. There are books half off the shelf. Books strewn about on the floor with pages earmarked. Smell of food and cigarette smoke just lingers in the air. You can see one of the windows is slightly open.
Aha! I knew it. He went out the goddamn window.
I'll have the 2 of you now, as you enter the crime scene. Roll me an investigation roll, please. Both of you.
Oh, natural fucking 20.
Good, because I only rolled 12.
12.
I have a +8 for investigation, but I rolled a 4.
Okay. With your modifier, Petunia, what did you get?
With a modifier, that would be 24.
24.
Nice.
Okay. Graves, as you look around, it is a good office. It is a solid office.
Solid office.
And you look around, and he smokes the same smokes you do. He drinks a very
He's got a good taste, see?
light
Put a
whiskey.
pack in my hat.
The lamp is still on. You know, it looks like a functioning office. But Petunia, unlike you, not often in the field, you notice several things wrong with this room. Taking the next couple minutes looking around. As you approach the window, seeing that it was open, the window's latch was broken. but it seems to have been broken from the outside.
We have a break-in.
Taking a step back towards the desk, you see a bill on the desk for the Barstein Pub on the East End.
I think the Barstein Pub.
Yep.
I think we found what's the word I'm looking for? The thing that you drink at, you know.
Bar, club, pub. There you go.
That's it.
Looks like it might be a place he favored.
My old age is starting to get to me a little bit, you know.
Oh, Petunia, you're as young as the day I met you.
You don't mean that.
You notice now from standing here that there are 3 books missing from the bookshelves that are very obvious. The dust in front of them is being scraped off from the book being removed. They are all part of series. There's Slam Slam's Guide to Violence, Part 2.
1 second.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I got no room for paperwork here.
Slam's
Guide to Violence, Part 2.
Okay.
Medicine of the Top Tribe, Volume 4.
The Top Tribe?
Yep.
Of the Top Tribe, Volume 4.
Yep.
Okay.
And Knowing Your Gems, Encyclopedia, Volume 2.
There's a picture of me on the front cover.
Knowing Your Gems, Encyclopedia,
Volume 2.
Okay, so for the Slam's Guide, it was volume or part?
Part 2.
Okay, part 2. So
Of
volume
a
4,
3-part
volume 2.
series.
And these are the ones that are missing.
Yeah. Petunia, you also notice as you hear movement coming from down the hall. The door was removed from the inside. The way the hinges are mounted on the door frame would have only been able to be removed from the inside. So the servants would have had to be inside the room in order to remove it.
Does the door lock from the outside?
It is in the room. It is just beside the door frame. It is, a standard keyed door. You can open it from either side. Very basic item. Looking at the floor, though, there are scrape marks on the ground itself, as if something heavy was placed in front of the door.
So there was a chair placed in front of the door. I look around a little bit. Can I find anything heavy that would have probably been what was in front of the door?
Looking around, there is an old grandfather clock that seems to be about the right size, with your natural 20.
I love rolling natural 20s. I bet you that's the only one I get tonight.
As you two stand there.
Okay, looking at the grandfather clock after Petunia points it out, does it seem like anything's missing from it, or anything like, is the clock still working?
Looking at it, with what you guys got, looking at it, the I can't remember what it's called right now. The bottom of the pendulum for the grandfather clock is missing, like that circular plate.
That's an odd thing to take from a clock. Is the time stopped?
It isn't stopped, but it isn't correct. It's going it's just going a little slow.
Damn. Old thing needs to be wound up.
At this point, 3 servants enter the quarters. None of them are the doorman or the gatekeeper. You are looking at a rotund gnome woman, a tall, lanky, dark-skinned elf, and just a run-of-the-mill human.
Guys, you know this is a crime scene, right? You can't just be walking in here.
The dark-skinned elf approaches and goes, "We were the first in this room, and Miss Montgomery sent us up here."
That's fine.
The three of you were the first ones to enter this room?
We were the first ones to enter the room.
And you entered from the outside?
Yes, when Miss Montgomery asked us, we tried the door, but it was barred from the inside, so
Insight check.
go for it.
That sounds shady.
So I gotta find my insight. 21?
He's telling the truth, but looking at them, the gnomish woman is kind of jittery. And he continues, "I went over to the window and just couldn't reach, so I gave Berta here," and points to the gnomish woman, "a little boost up, and she is the one who opened the door. When we entered the room, I removed the door from its hinges and sat it aside as Miss Montgomery instructed."
Seems kind of odd to take the door right off the hinges.
So I look to Berta and I just say, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's fine.
That window that's open, that's the one you entered?
She goes, "Yes, dear. That one right there. It was open, and so I climbed in."
I would like to inspect the door. The window a little bit closer, like just focus in on it, looking for like scraps of cloth, hair, fucking fingerprints on the windows.
Okay, give me a perception roll. Because you already investigated it.
Yeah.
Just a perception roll. Walking over to it, giving a little look around.
Were you
15.
15? Okay, hold on.
Were you three the ones that got into a fight with Mr. Montgomery in the kitchen?
Yes, it seems he disagreed with our way of preparing the meal. Told us we were overcooking the chicken.
Is that common from Mr. Montgomery?
Very. He is a stickler for details and, as you may say, quite picky.
And he never asked for any food to be sent to his office?
We brought food up, knocked on the door as we do. This isn't the first time Mr. Montgomery has locked himself away. Knocked on the door, and when we came up later, the tray or plate or bowl or whatever the delivery method would be gone until the next morning, and then he would put it back out, emptied, cleaned off.
Well, did
How-
you ever think that Mr. Montgomery and Mrs. Montgomery had any enemies?
Oh, Mr. Montgomery is the leader of research and practice of arcane healing. He has enemies all over the place. Not in the fashion of wanting to kill him or get rid of him, but pharmaceutical companies angry at him working towards curing the things they make money from. Petunia, as you approach the window, looking it over, there's no scraps of fabric, but there's a little bit of blood where the window is being broken, where the latch is being broken on the window.
Mr. Graves, there's blood over here.
I walk over and take a peek, and then I turn back to Berta and say, "Did you cut yourself entering?"
She looks herself over very sharply, very aggressively, and goes, I hope not." And she doesn't seem to have any exposed wounds or any signs of blood.
Well, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
The dark elven man continues and goes, "And I must say, the Montgomerys loved each other very much. Never seen a couple so tiny, so...
Insight check.
Go for it. So touchy-feely
Why am I rolling such pookie?
as
12.
Montgomery's were. He's telling the truth. You know?
Yeah, but it was a 5 that I rolled.
He seems to be telling the truth.
Okay, I'm not smart enough to be a detective.
Too bad.
Okay, how many meals did you deliver to Mr. Montgomery before you noticed that he wasn't accepting them?
It was after the 4th, 5th meal, I would say, that we became worried and informed Miss Montgomery.
So, first meal would have been that evening you fought. 3 meals during the next day? And then breakfast the following day?
It was days later that he stopped accepting meals.
She said he was locked in for 2 days before you tore the door down.
And he just looks at you and goes, yes. He was in there for 2 days, and then we tore the door down on the 3rd day.
What about you? What's your story? And I gesture towards the third one that hasn't been saying anything.
He just sort of like pikes up a little bit now that somebody's paying attention to him and goes, my name is Barnaby. I clean the manor for the Mr. and Mrs. I make sure everything is where it should be.
So you would have keys to this room?
I do. And he jingles a key ring on his side.
So why didn't you use the key to open the door?
Well, when I tried that, we realized the door was blocked from the other side.
Yeah, remember? Grandfather clock. Remember
So
that?
you moved the clock?
No. When Berta climbed in, she moved the clock from this side.
Right. Was there anything weird about the clock when you moved it?
It was at an angle. Berta just goes, it was at an angle. It was pressed against so the door wouldn't move.
This is a very strange case. And having troubles wrapping my bowl around it. I just don't understand if Montgomery usually comes out after that night. If he locks himself away at night, he's usually back by the morning.
No, Mr. Montgomery, whenever he's had too much of the world, likes to lock himself away until he's had time to think over whatever he's working on or just calm down from the stress of life. It is his way of unwinding.
You know how I unwind? I perform shows. That's how I get away from the ugliness of the world.
Does a mighty fine job. Maybe we should follow the other lead you found with the Barstein pub.
I think we're all cleared out here. I would like to check out below the window.
Okay.
On the outside?
On the outside, just to see, like, has there been rain the last couple of days?
For the area you guys are in, it rains almost every night.
Okay, so there might be footprints.
Yeah. Walking around, there are footprints under the window. It is roughly 10 feet up. The window itself is 10 feet off the ground.
Okay, I'm going to pull out. Do we have cameras?
You would have like old-timey film cameras.
Pull out a camera. Yeah, pull out a camera from my hat. Take a picture of the footprint with also a little, like one of those little tailored ruler things.
Yep.
Put it down, take a picture of the footprint, do it the other way, take a picture.
You'd most likely have a forensic ruler.
Yeah. I'm thinking like a forensic kit kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take some pictures, and then looking at the windowsill on the outside.
Yep.
Does there look like there's anything, any more blood, any more scratches?
Coming down from where Petunia found the blood, there are like a couple more streaks of blood on the wall. But the rain has definitely like washed them out a bit.
I reckon we get a sample of that. It might be Montgomery's blood, but it might also be our kidnapper's blood. It might have been a bit of a, a tussle.
Using my forensics kit, I use a little Q-tippy thing.
Okay. You get the sample. The two of yous, are you going to make your way to the pub?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, first I'm gonna stop back in the house and ask the door person if Miss Montgomery is available to speak to.
The doorman looks at you and goes, "Yes, Miss Montgomery has retired to the patio to enjoy the sweet sound of the rain as it pitter-patters on the windows."
Okay.
These people are dramatic.
So I'm gonna, before I leave him to head to that area, I ask him, "Can you grab me one of Mr. Montgomery's shoes? Was it one footprint or a couple footprints?"
It was a couple.
It was a couple. And did they all look about the same size?
Yep.
Okay. Just say, can you grab me a pair of Mr. Montgomery's shoes? I need to compare.
Okay.
Right away.
He walks off and
I'm gonna head over to Mrs. Montgomery.
okay. Out on the patio, she is sitting underneath like a very large umbrella in a reclining chair, just listening to the rain, and she has a gin in her hand and just taking sips every now and then. Sees you approach and goes, Detective Graves, have you already solved the problem of where my delicate husband is?
We found a clue. My assistant here, Petunia, my secretary, found a clue.
Am I your sidekick or your secretary? What is it?
All of the above. Have you heard of the Barstein pub?
I can't say I have.
Is Mr. Montgomery known for attending pubs, getting out once in a while to clear his head?
If he goes to revel with his colleagues, sometimes he goes to a pub. I don't often ask questions. Mr. Montgomery has his life, and I have mine, and
I mean, you guys are kind of like together, aren't you? Like,
well, yes, dear, but I don't keep tabs on my husband every day. He does his thing. Sometimes he comes home from work at lunchtime. Sometimes he doesn't come home from work until the next day. I don't ask questions. I let him do what he has to do.
all right.
I walk up to her and pat her hand a little bit and say, we're on the right path, and we've found some good clues that it looks like the police may have skipped over. But to help us get the best search for your husband, we may need a little gold up front.
Okay.
Just say 50 or so.
Reaches into her little coin purse and pulls out some gold and hands you 20 gold. Whatever gets the case wrong, whatever it takes.
We just need gas. Yeah, you went it.
I went really blurry there for a minute.
So I kind of tip my hat to her and turn around with the of my coat cape.
You two proceed back to the car.
After we stop to get the shoes.
Getting to the front door, the doorman hands you a pair of shoes. These are Montgomery's loafers. Please return them.
Of course.
No, we're gonna throw them out after we're done with them. Of course, we're gonna
Okay. And he hands them over, and they're in like a little box.
And we are going to get in the car and head to the Barstein pub.
Okay.
On the east end.
As you make your way to the Barstein pub on the east end of town, you are reminded of how divided and segregated this city is as the buildings begin to get smaller and smaller, and you are now on the Fey side of town. Excuse me.
This could get interesting.
As you get out to the Barstein pub, it is a hold on, I lost my place. There we are. This tiny building found on the east end stands tall among the community. A veritable skyscraper for fairy kind, that is. It's still not very big. It's for a more human-sized building. This would only be about 2 stories, but for the Fae, it is a good 20 stories tall. And there is a section of it that is tall enough for you to enter. And as you enter, the pub itself is divided up into smaller areas.
Smoking and non-smoking?
No, it is divided into little floors. And as you walk around, you take up several floors. You're sort of just in the center, taking up some of them. The dance floor is nice and open. And you find yourself surrounded by Fae folk, going about their business, drinking, reveling, light jazz playing in the background.
Nice.
Just as we're walking by everybody, and just, hey, honey, how's it going? Hey, good looking? Hey.
There's a couple people that nod towards you, Petunia, and then there's a couple that just like, oh, it's Petunia Wilds. What's Petunia Wilds doing in an establishment like this?
I'm here for a drink, honey.
There are a couple that like get all giggly, and it doesn't take you long, Petunia, before someone has handed you a drink, and you have a thimble-sized glass in your hand.
Well, that's dangerous.
And it is a light ale, very, very tasteful.
All right, dwarf can handle the booze.
Barely a shot, though. For a fairy, this is probably a standard-sized drink. For you, this is nothing.
I kind of lean down and do you have anything a little bit more bigger, like me size? I know where I'm at, but like I can't be drinking thimble-sized things all night. I won't get nowhere.
A couple of the patrons chuckle a bit, just look at you and go, "Oh, Miss Wilds, you're quite the individual." And they go back to what they're doing.
That didn't help me at all.
It is at this point, Mr. Graves, that you notice on the far end of the pub the large oil painting of the renowned mob boss for the East End, Sweet Tony.
Oh, Sweet Tony.
Why do I feel like there's a history there?
In all of his pudgy fairy glory.
Sweet Tony. He's got my name, bitch!
Sweet Tony? You mean Tony Graves? Sweet Tony. Are they the same person? You'll find out.
You can see his portrait on the wall. You can see him on the far end of the pub, just walking around, talking to various people, shaking hands. Occasionally slaps a woman on the ass and ends up going face to face with what was probably her man.
Oh boy. Okay.
Nothing coming of it though, and they go their separate ways.
In hindsight, I'm gonna say I asked for a picture of Mr. Dr. Montgomery, but because I suck, I forgot to.
Metagaming.
This is the one time.
Come on, I'm not a detective! I remembered the shoes, ain't that good enough? Okay. So I'm gonna go up to the bar and ask anybody at the bar if they recognize him.
Showing the picture to the fairies,
Yeah.
you know. Oh, well, yeah, he comes in here often. He likes to drink. And, I mean, last time he was in here, he just spoke with He just spoke with Tony.
Shoot, I knew that was where it was going. Do you know how long ago that was?
Week and a half ago.
Did they seem to get in a fight, or is it a pretty calm talk?
Oh, Tony's almost always calm. He's a very loving individual.
Insight?
Go for it. And Mr. Montgomery, he's always comes in cheerful, buys drinks for anyone around him.
23.
23. This person's being honest.
Like willfully honest, or like being paid to be honest?
Willfully honest.
Okay. Well, I think I'm going to go talk to Mr. Tony over there.
As you
Keep pondering ideas with barkeep, and I'll figure out what's on her end or his end, its end, whatever it is.
as you walk over to Sweet Tony, he is shaking the hands of another fairy, and you just hear, "It's very nice to see you in my bar. I must say, a gentleman like you is quite the kind individual. Please make yourself at home, and your first drink is on me." And just pats him on the shoulder and keeps walking, sees you approaching. "Miss Wilds, Petunia Wilds."
Sweet Tony.
He flutters up to you and gives you a hug, warm embrace, and kisses you on either side of your face and just goes, "Are you here to perform?"
No, sadly I'm all on the job tonight. I have a couple of questions to ask you.
Bearable information will pour from my lips for your pretty face, Petunia.
And I kind of give like a glance around. Do you have like an office that we could discuss this in more private settings? I don't need the rebel to overhear our conversation.
He looks you over and looks around and goes, "Petunia, you are a lovely woman, but you're a little big for my office."
Yeah, I figured as much. So I kind of lean in closer. I don't know if you know this yet or not, but Dr. Montgomery's gone missing.
At the mention of Montgomery, there's about 20 or so fairies around you that all pull out their little Tommy guns and point them at you. And Sweet Tony looks towards you and goes, "Miss Petunia, you shall watch the names you bring up in company."
That's what I wanted to speak in private.
Make a persuasion roll.
Oh God, 5.
5. Sweet Tony looks around at the rest of them and they fly and goes, "Maybe we should go discuss this outside."
That's a good idea.
So, after seeing Petunia get like everybody going kapata,
Mr. Graves, as you were standing there just sort of pondering over everything, you see Petunia being escorted out, hands up.
I'm gonna follow.
Okay.
But like
at a distance.
At a distance, sneakily.
As you round the corner, Petunia, into a back alley. You're a dwarf. You can see just over most buildings. They come up like about to your nose level.
That's sad.
That's kind of cute. Little fairy buildings.
Sad that I could just be like, I'm Godzilla. And I'm a dwarf.
Looking around, you can see. Could I get Mr. Graves to roll a stealth check for me, please?
Here. That would be 18.
18. What's your passive perception, Petunia?
How did we determine that again?
10 plus your perception.
10 plus perception?
Yep.
So 13.
13. You don't see him at all.
Wah ha ha ha.
He is a fox. He is bobbing around the buildings. And you're stopped finally behind the Barstein pub and just, "Miss Petunia, what is your business with Dr. Montgomery?"
Can I put my arms down now? Like, am I not on trial no more?
He gestures to all of his goons and they lower their guns.
Okay. Well, my
Mr. Montgomery owed me a lot of money. When I went to find him, he was gone.
So you don't even know where he's at. Insight check.
Go for it.
Natural fucking one.
Oh. Okay, from where I am, do I hear the conversation?
What's your perception?
Passive?
Yeah.
14.
14? I'd say yeah.
Oh.
It's a fat one.
Oh,
Yeah.
ouch.
Yeah, it's a fat one.
He seems to be telling the truth, Petunia.
Okay, well, I was just gonna ask some questions about, the last time you saw him. Were you guys, being mad with each other and, being in the situation kind of like what I'm in right now, and I'm real uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie to you.
He smiles and walks towards you, flutters up a bit, and goes, Miss Petunia, Dr. Montgomery and I were good friends. Not the greatest, but I would never wish ill will upon him. Just wanted my money.
That's fair.
Inside?
Flutters up and lands on your shoulder. It's just sort of sitting there.
Devil on your shoulder.
Big time.
And just goes, I like you, Miss Petunia.
And I like you too, sweet Tony.
I will make you a deal. You go back in there, you perform. Depending on how well you do, I'll tell you whatever you need to know and give you access to things you shouldn't be able to have. And just pats the side of your cheek with his tiny pixie hand.
No strings attached. There's not gonna be 3 months down the road, I need you to kill somebody for me. Nothing like that.
No, Miss Petunia. Just want the place to pick up a little bit. Get some more people in. Word gets out that Petunia Wilds was in my establishment. That'll be very good.
Insight check.
Go for it.
Well, this seems pretty legit.
Are you fucking kidding me? Another natural one.
Aww.
He seems to be telling the truth.
I shouldn't have picked up the metal dice. I should have just gotten one of my regular sets.
I'm playing a regular set tonight.
They have been nothing but not nice to me since I started using them.
Aww.
So what are you doing, Petunia?
I would love to perform tonight, but I do not have any of my stage attire. That's all back at the office.
He looks you over and goes, Miss Petunia, what you're wearing is even now more overdressed than any of the slobs in there deserve.
I blush a little bit. Well, if you say so, we will. I'll put on a show.
Okay.
My voice is starting to die.
You're led back in. You get on the stage, which is kind of large for fairy kind, but for you, it's not. It's not anything to.
On my knees.
No, you're standing up, but you're definitely about to touch the curtain above your head.
Oh, wow.
You can't jump or you're gonna take out a light. And if you spread out your arms, you could probably touch either side of the stage.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Well.
And I want you.
Don't tell me to roll a performance check. Not the way the dice have been treating me.
To give me a performance roll.
Oh no!
Hey, that's better.
What'd you get?
Performance. It would be a 19, but I got a -1 to my performance.
Oh no!
It's gonna be an 18.
Still pretty good.
You get up there and you start singing and doing a little sidesteppy dance. Not too much though. You don't want to bump either side of the building. And everyone's clapping and just as it comes to an end, the music stays at that tempo, but some fairies get up out of their seats and they're sort of fly dancing around. You make your way back over to Sweet Tony and just, Thank you. That was beautiful, Miss Petunia Wilds.
Right at the end of the show, like right when I'm guessing it's like the more like big band jazz music playing.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my boa off and I'm gonna fucking whip it towards the uh, bar and grab a glass right off the table with it.
Ooh. I want you to make an attack roll.
Oh yes, yes, 22.
You
Oh,
you get it. You get it back to you. You spill a little bit. Get it back to you. It is still like a thimble-sized cup.
but I grab it, I drink it, and I death drop. Is that what that is? Yeah. Yes, death drop.
You
Eh.
Yeah.
you smash it on the ground. Everyone's cheering, clapping, dancing. You approach Sweet Tony, and he just
Not at the moment. There should be one dry in there. Do we? Right back. She needs a towel, and she's already stripped, so she can't walk out there.
okay. Mute yourself.
Huh?
Mute yourself.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Tony, as you walk back in.
Well, I followed them back in to see the show.
Yes.
I was just kind of hiding off to the corner again, just to make sure that there wasn't going to be any ill will between Sweet Tony and Petunia.
Is there anything that you were trying to accomplish during the show for Petunia Wilds? Like, she is performing right now. Is there anything you are doing?
So while she was performing, I'm going to see if I can find just, like, I just went to the bartenders. I'm going to sneak to Sweet Tony's office.
Give me a stealth roll.
It's 15.
15. As the performance is going, you know what? I'll give you an advantage as everyone's distracted by the show of Miss Wilds.
Oh, thank gosh. So that's 23. Or, sorry, 22.
22. You sneak past the one guard into Sweet Tony's office. It is a small office. You're definitely having to be all like crunched up in here. But you're inside. What are you looking for?
I am looking for any of those books. Slam's Guide to Violence, Medicine of the Top Tribe, Knowing Your Gems Encyclopedia.
Give me an investigation.
I'm back.
Investigation is that's gonna be 21.
21. As you look around, none of those books are there. You are able to notice a ledger that is being neatly placed on the desk. It is closed.
Like a ledger or is there a schedule book or something?
No schedule book that you can see out in the open with that roll. You do see various paperwork, like a small, large stack of money. You know, think like fairy-sized bills all stacked up on like a table.
I'm gonna grab them and shove them in my hat.
Okay.
So, metagaming, is your hat a bag of holding?
Yeah,
I love it. I love it.
I know. It's amazing. It was Kenzie's idea.
Petunia, as you come to an end, you just see the little foxtails dip into a door, and you know that Mr. Graves is ducked in to Sweet Tony's office. And you approach Sweet Tony now, and he is just looking at you, clapping slowly.
I also grabbed the ledger.
Miss Petunia Wilds, what can I do for you? What would help with your search for Mr. Montgomery?
Well, I'm a little out of breath, sorry. I don't usually perform in work or casual attire like that. A lot of my outfits are a lot more airy, as you know.
I'm gonna piece out.
Did Mr. Montgomery, to your knowledge, have any enemies that would cause harm? Maybe any other people that he might owe money to or owe something to?
It depends on if he was using people the way he was using me.
Well, how is he using you?
And he flutters over to you and goes, Mr. Montgomery, I'm losing the voice, owed me money, and he was asking me to acquire not illegal, just sort of rare items for him.
Items such as
Occult boxes, mass from distant areas, things that are,
shit.
yeah.
Alright, so he's looking into not so scientific, heebie-jeebie, mumbo jumbo nonsense.
Yeah. He proceeds to tell you that, Mr. Montgomery would come in every day. Not every day. He'd come in every other day, maybe every third day. And he'd get a drink or two, just, a little nightcap. And would make his way home afterwards. The only problem is Mr. Montgomery never showed up with money. But Sweet Tony knew that he was good for the money, so they never went after him. When it came to any of the illegal goods, illegal in quotation marks, Mr. Montgomery would pay up front for those.
Okay.
And then he tells you can go search his office, ledgers on his desk, you can go and check and help yourself to any of the food in there. And just pats you on the shoulder and goes, I need to go make a donation to the community center, and flies off.
Well, thank you for all your help, Sweet Tony. And,
I'm a horrible person.
What?
I took what money meant for the community center.
Oh, no.
He flutters off and starts talking to a couple people, and one of his grunts shows you off towards the office.
So I go and I, just do a brief look around, look for the ledger.
As you enter, there's no ledger, and you can see... actually, hold on. Which way did Mr. Graves get out of the office? Did you use the door or attempt a window?
The windows are probably way too small.
So just back out the door?
I just backed out the door.
Okay. Butt gets stuck.
But with two tails wiggling in there.
As you enter...
What you got yourself into now?
As you enter, there are little, hairs on the floor. Same color as Mr. Graves. But you can see nothing is out. There is no ledger on the desk, like you were told. There's no food available, nothing. It's sort of just an empty, barren office.
Damn. Sweet Tony's actually pretty chill.
I back out and I go to find Graves. With the hairs. I pick up the hairs.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
Graves is over by the bar, and you join up with him.
Honey, we need to go outside and have a little chat right now.
I agree. I found something interesting.
Yeah, I know you did. Come on.
Oh, Lord.
So we get outside and back into the car. Graves, I do a lot of things for you. One thing I never thought I would do is put a show on for free. And you're telling me you snuck into Sweet Tony's office, you stole a ledger, and left hairs behind, and I just kind of sprinkle them on his lap.
And that's why
You're supposed to be a detective.
Well, sometimes you gotta stray the line a little bit.
just perform for free?
I will be able to pay you later with a bonus once we find Mr. Montgomery.
Please tell me you didn't take anything else.
Nope.
Insight check.
Roll deception there, Mr. Graves.
Oh shit, that's bad. 9.
18.
Oh,
Bold-faced lie.
Petunia, you have been working for Mr. Wilds for a while. You know he is lying.
Mr. Gray.
Mr. Graves, sorry. You know he is lying.
Tony,
Alright. Take my hat off and I pull the stack of money out.
you know what that's for, right?
I don't know, probably some ladies on the side.
He's making a generous donation to the community center in the area, and I'm pretty sure you are holding on to said donation. And now, that implements me because he let me into his office. Last time he was in his office, there was money. Now there's money.
So, either of yous, your choice, make an intelligence roll.
Probably. Do you want to do it? Okay.
No, you go right ahead.
12?
12? Yeah, I'll give it to you.
It's better than what I rolled.
It's not money that you're holding. It's like a money-shaped candy.
Oh, it's just candy?
Yeah. It's candy in the shape of dollar bills.
You know what? He did say there's food on the table.
I take one and I just... Okay, maybe it's not the donation. Hopefully it's not the donation. At least it's not actual money.
Well, I'm gonna keep it now. Shove it back in the hat.
Okay.
What we learn here.
Don't take money that doesn't belong to me.
You should already know that, but also you owe me big for that performance.
Promise? I promise, Petunia. I will pay you back.
God damn it. Just like you promised to pay the rent, right? You got any more leads? What's the ledger say?
I pull out the ledger and we're gonna take a read.
Okay. Looking...
We're gonna take a read.
Sitting outside of the Barstein pub, reading the ledger for the Barstein pub, you see that Mr. Montgomery owed a lot of money for drinks. He could have paid it off. Given Mrs. Montgomery's fortune, he could have paid it off at any time. You also noticed that it was paid in full yesterday by an RS.
Aha. First off, those are not Mr. Montgomery. That is not Mr. Montgomery's initials. Second off, who the fuck is RS?
Okay, I'm trying to use my smarts that I don't have. While you were talking with Tony, did he mention anything about this?
I hope you wrote it down. Because he did, and I proceed to tell you about it all that I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, he didn't. I did write it all down, don't worry.
As you discuss this,
God.
and you begin to drive off, where are you heading?
Okay, any of the other items that were taken, as we were looking through it, was there anything where it was like where he acquired them from, anywhere in town?
No. So your guys' current... I will give you locations to make this a little easier. You could go back to your office to go over what you have found so far.
I'm going to stay to the office for right now. Do we have phones?
You could go to the hospital where Mr. Montgomery worked.
Oh shit, that's a good idea. Let's go to the hospital. I need another page.
You write way too many notes, but
I know.
Okay.
My voice is really hard to keep up
I'm
for
just
a long period of time.
trying to find my spot. as you arrive at the general hospital where Mr. Montgomery worked, it's a very calm hospital. The rain is letting up a little bit, but not enough to uh, make you think it's going to stop. As you approach, it's a very calm night. Not a whole lot of people going in and out. And you are greeted by a little desk clerk, and she looks up and goes, "Well, hi there. How can I assist you today?"
1 second. Okay. We were looking to speak with any of Mr. Montgomery, Dr. Montgomery's colleagues.
Well, of course. Just go up, 4th floor. Any of them could assist you.
All right.
And she just smiles and points towards the stairs.
I tip my hat to her.
Are you his personal assistant, or are you like the secretary of the building?
No, I am just the secretary for the building.
Have you seen Mr. Montgomery come in at all in the last couple of days?
I can't say that I have.
Are you acting strange the last time you saw him?
No stranger than Mr. Montgomery has ever looked.
Okay, thank you.
You make your way up to the 4th floor. There you find, it's a research level mostly. They sort of test out various things. And as you walk out, there are 3 doctors standing there talking to a nurse. And they just look towards you and goes, how can we assist you?
We're looking to find Dr. Montgomery.
Well, Dr. Montgomery is not here.
Would you have any idea where he is?
I assume he is at home?
He's not at home. Wife thinks he's missing.
Oh, that's not good.
When did you see him last?
Richardson, when did you see him last? The other doctor turns and goes, would have been weeks ago now. Robertson? Oh, when, I don't know. Operating room a couple weeks ago. We can show you to his office.
That would be really helpful.
Okay. I can't.
He's more unhelped than you guys are being.
He starts walking, leading you, and just goes, I can't guarantee the state of his office. Mr. Montgomery, despite his pleasant nature and brilliant mind, is kind of a messy man. And he opens the door, and there's papers everywhere. Food, like, stuck to the desk. You can see a cup that has been spilled over, and the liquid from it is dried on the floor.
Why does this look like your office, Graves?
Not now, Miss Wiles.
The 2 of you enter, and it stinks. Stale, gungy air. If you were to imagine the smell of a dormitory, that's what it smells like in here.
Lovely.
That's exactly what I want to smell in here.
The doctor behind you just goes, yes, we let him leave his office like this, but when it spills over into other areas, we make him clean it up. We help him, of course. Montgomery is a good man,
Insight check on the good man.
Go for it.
15.
15. He seems to be telling the truth. Maybe not paying 100% attention to what he's saying, but he seems to be speaking truth.
Okay. Was there any of his colleagues or any of his patients that he was particularly close with?
He has been visiting the Amelia girl lately. The little one he cured. But he hadn't gone to visit her as of late.
You have any idea why that would be?
No clue. You could go ask her. She is on the 3rd floor.
She's still here, even though she's been cured?
Montgomery claims that it was an accident, so we kept her to study and maybe help cure others.
So now you cured her, and now she's a test subject.
By her choice, of course. We wouldn't keep her against her will.
Insight check.
Go for it. Stop. What was that?
That was the dogs.
Okay.
Ooh, 21.
Oh, that's
That's 21. He's being honest and almost seemed a little taken back that you would assume that a doctor would keep a patient in the hospital against their will.
Oh, totally. Totally would.
Totally would, but he just seems a little put off by the thought of it.
Okay.
Okay. I guess we should go to the third floor.
Let's check out the office a little bit more.
Okay, you're the boss.
I'm gonna see if I can see if those books are here.
Okay. Roll investigation.
Okay. That is 26.
26.
Damn.
The books themselves are not here. But you do see a couple of his notes refer to needing to read those specific books over again. And it says it a good 4 or 5 times among different documentation. But he needs to read them again. He needs to read those again.
Does it look like even though it's a mess, does it look like an on-purpose mess like they described, or is it like somebody sacked his office?
Oh no, I'm down to 20%.
It looks like this is a mess that has slowly accumulated over a long period of time.
Okay, so it's not one of those things of like I could see whether or not things look like they've been gone through.
Yeah, but
it's too messy.
What is both of yours intelligence scores?
+2.
Score.
15.
Mine's
+2.
12.
Wilds, you would be the first to notice that if this is his office, this is his workspace, it is a mess, but his office at home was quite tidy.
Oh, it was. You're right.
This room doesn't look like it was sacked. It looks like it's been this way for a while. But when you were in the office, in his home, everything was clean.
Wait a minute. Graves.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem a little off to you.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
But his office at home is very meticulously clean.
Huh. Who cleaned it?
The only thing I can think is if this is, and this is apparently how he likes to keep his workstation, a fair bit.
I must have misheard because I thought the room was trashed.
I might have said the wrong thing. That might be on me. Sorry.
I think we might have to pay the mansion one more visit.
I think you're right.
When we're done here, because I think somebody's not telling the truth there. Somebody has got one sticky finger in the honey pot, if you know what I mean.
I'm hearing you, Miss Laws. How about we visit little Amelia and then head on back over to the Montgomerys?
Couldn't have thought a better plan myself, Graves.
My phone isn't going to make it through the whole session.
Okay. As you three make it, or as you two make it down to the ward, you approach the little room and there's big bubbly letters glued on the window of the ward that say, our hero Amelia. And you walk in and there's a little 8-year-old just sitting in a bed and her mother's beside her and they're like going over a book and reading it together.
Excuse me.
The mother looks up. Amelia looks over at you. Just, hi. It's nice to see some different faces.
Hi. My name is Petunia Wilds, and this is Tony Graves. We have some troubling news, and we're hoping that you might be able to help us figure out how to solve it as well. As you may not know, Dr. Montgomery has gone missing.
Oh no, not Mr. Montgomery. He's really kind. And you see the mother stand up and just like grab at her chest a little bit and goes, "Will Amelia be all right without Montgomery around?"
I would assume. I am no doctor. I have no idea what's going on here, but I would assume that there are many talented doctors here to keep her monitored and safe.
Okay. I'm just worried about my little Amelia. And she sits back down and holds her daughter's hand, and they both look towards you. Any way I can help, I will help you.
When was the last time you saw Mr. Montgomery?
It would have been at Daddy's birthday. We had a little cake here and a little celebration, and he took some blood and ran a couple cognitive tests and memory tests and whatnot. And he smiled and gave Daddy a gift and went on his way.
And how long was that? I say to the mom.
When was Daddy's birthday? And she looks towards her mom and the mother. 3 weeks ago, dear.
And that's the last time you guys saw Montgomery.
Did you hear from him outside of that?
No, not recently.
He's been missing for about 3 days, I believe.
No, a week.
A week.
Well, if he turns up here, we'll tell the doctors or nurses to inform you. But I'm sorry, we have not seen him.
I just walk up and go to shake the mom's hand and say, "Thank you, Miss
Montague."
Montague.
Does that name sound familiar to me?
For like in the game or in the
Yeah, in the game.
Roll history.
That's 17.
17. Petunia, it gets slow sometimes in the office, and you peruse the newspapers more than once or twice a day. The Montagues went on a little expedition, a little trip, and when they came back, their daughter was sick with a life-threatening disease that she had picked up somehow, and was given less than a month to live. And within a week, Dr. Montgomery had cured her.
Okay, so they haven't seen her in 3 weeks, or him in 3 weeks. He's been gone for about a
Week.
Yes. What was I saying? He's been gone for a week. They haven't seen him in 3. A lot of people have been saying that they haven't seen him in about 3 weeks.
Shoot. Okay, so they were on an expedition or a trip. Were you familiar with Dr. Montgomery before Amelia was sick?
No, when our daughter became ill, we brought her here, and he latched onto the case and did what he had to help her as fast as possible.
And what's your husband's name?
Mr. Montgomery?
His first name?
Frederick.
Frederick. Okay. I thank you very much for helping us. I tip my hat to them and I say, Miss Wilds, I think maybe we can continue on now.
Yeah, I definitely think we got what we could get from this. Thank you, Amelia, and I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
She smiles and stands up and sort of walks over to you and goes, "It is way past Amelia's bedtime. Please step out of the room." And as you step out, she shuts off the light and looks towards you. Did I already say her name? Okay. Just wanted to make sure I didn't mess it up and leave the wrong name. She goes, "My name is Beatrice. Beatrice Montague." Goes, "Please, maybe don't inform Emily of any ill things that happened. She's had it kind of rough the past couple weeks."
We'll only inform her the good stuff.
Okay. You two make your way out of the hospital. Where are you going towards? The office or back to
I think back
Montgomery
to
Mansion?
yeah.
Okay. As you make your way towards the manor, it is quiet. The rain has picked up a bit. As you approach, the gateman's standing there waiting. He sees you approach and waves and begins to open the gate up for you as you drive through, approaching. The doorman opens as you approach, and have you come to return Mr. Montgomery's shoes?
Not quite yet.
Oh, okay.
Still need them for the investigation.
Shall I inform Miss Montgomery you are here?
Yes?
Okay. He walks off, and Miss Montgomery comes back and goes, "Dears, have you found my husband?"
We haven't found him yet, but we've got quite a good lead on the case. We spoke to his colleagues at the hospital. We spoke to young Amelia, the little girl that he helped heal.
Oh, dear Amelia. I was there for the photo shoot. She told me the whole story. She told me she's seen this beautiful multicolored bird where they were, and she went on a little walk and fell in a hole, was bitten by a bunch of bugs, and Mr. Montgomery thinks that's where she got her disease from, but I mean, given the area, she could have got it from anything, you know. It is what happens.
We need to speak to those three staff again.
Of course, of course. Who would you like to speak to first?
The elderly elf, the tall elf, sir.
Okay. She walks off, just going, Bartleby, where are you?
I thought it was the human.
It is.
Oh.
And after a little bit, all three of them return, and the dark elf approaches, and the missus says, "You wish to speak with me first. Shall..."
Come with me.
Why don't we bring him to Mr. Montgomery's office?
Okay.
Maybe you should lead the way. I don't know this house.
Lead back up to the office.
He goes up to the office, you two behind him, you enter. What do you require of me?
Is this the normal state for Mr. Montgomery's office?
No, it is not. His office is usually a disaster. I feel that...
Ha! That's it. I knew it, Graves. I knew it.
A member of staff may have not adhered to my words.
Do you know which individual?
Most likely Bartleby. He sometimes gets a little too eager in his station.
He is the one that did say that, I make sure everything's clean. Everything. Ozarix. his exact words. So I have a funny feeling that either he has kept it clean all the time, or he went in there knowing full well that somebody was Montgomery was in there and helped somebody kidnap him because he had to lay out of the house.
Before we start jumping to conclusions here, I think we should speak with Bartleby.
No, I will go fetch the young Bartleby.
Petunia, would you follow him?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. And he leads you down, and Bartleby is dusting off the mantle of the fireplace as you approach. And how can I assist? How can I assist?
Come with me.
Okay. And he follows behind, and the dark elf stays where he is and just like puts away whatever Bartleby was cleaning when you approached. As you return to the office, Bartleby looks around and is just sort of happy going individual.
Insight check on that mood.
Okay, good for it.
Gets a nat 20. He's actually severely depressed and lonely. On the inside, you can see the eyes glistening with unshed tears.
What'd you get? I see that face. What'd you get?
Either a 1 or a 20.
Natural 20. Which is a 24 in total.
Okay. Looking at him, you know men, Petunia Wilds.
I know, man.
This is the smug look of a job well done. He is ecstatic at how clean he got this room before anyone showed up.
Oh.
In a suspicious manner?
In a this guy likes cleaning manner.
Oh, it's still suspicious.
That's still very suspicious. A guy that likes to clean? I don't like it. Not in this day and age.
Well, we're not in this day and age.
Okay. So, I didn't quite get that read, but I'm still gonna we visited the hospital and we're under the impression that Dr. Montgomery usually keeps his personal space a little messier.
Yes. It's half the reason why I was hired on. Mr. Montgomery is quite the to use a term I don't quite enjoy. He's a ratty individual. He would rather have this place a complete pig pen all the time, but Miss Montgomery does not enjoy a messy house. She has nothing against Mr. Montgomery maintaining such a mess, just would prefer if it was tidy for company.
Now, have you cleaned his office before, or was this the first time?
Usually after he has one of his lock-away sprees, I clean up Mr. Montgomery's office. I don't touch his paperwork or anything like that, just the garbage and any spills he may have made.
Now, why did you clean this time? Did you clean before the police arrived?
No. I realized I'd be tampering with evidence. When the police came the third day and were checking things over, I told Miss Montgomery if they find nothing... Sorry, not told. Asked Miss Montgomery if they find nothing this time, could I clean the room? And Miss Montgomery gave me permission to. The officials found nothing in the room again, and I went in and just started tidying up. I left his paperwork where it was. I didn't dust the shelves because I know he doesn't like when the shelves are dusted. I just picked up the trash and straightened the furniture, and I didn't get around to setting the clock because I noticed the pendulum was missing the weight, so that would be a foolish thing to do. Just leave it until we get a replacement pendulum.
I kind of lean over to Grizz. Something ain't right here.
Something's
It's
very
too clean cut.
Mm-hmm.
He's just looking back and forth at the two of yous.
So you noticed any of his books have been missing?
I didn't take a catalog of his books, but I assume some are missing. Mr. Montgomery often takes books from here to work and back again. It depends on what he's working on.
Are you aware of any colleagues or friends he may have with the initials RS?
Give me a sec. He looks at you and goes, colleagues or friends? No,
A little bit of both.
not with the initials RS. No, can't say I do.
Family?
But yes, family. You know, Mrs. Montgomery's father's RS.
And his name?
Rupert Smigma.
Migma?
Smigma.
Smigma?
Not to be confused with what you're both thinking.
Okay.
Has he been around since Mr. Montgomery's missing?
He has to talk to his daughter. They were planning a vacation about 2 months ago. They were gonna go south. I think Mr. Montgomery had convinced them to go to wherever that little girl got sick to maybe investigate, or so that he could at least investigate the area that the family was in when she got sick.
And the trip didn't happen?
Not yet. It's supposed to happen in 2 days from now. But I don't know if it will with Mr. Montgomery missing now.
When would you say he was last at the house?
Who?
Yes.
Mr. Smigma was probably here, if I was to guess. I know you're both laughing. He was probably here 2 days ago.
Aha!
Maybe yesterday. I'm not here every minute of every day.
Would you be able to provide his address?
I don't know the street address, but I can tell you where it's located. It's down the road, 2 corners, or 2 streets down. You go up about a block, and it's the large green building on the left.
You've been very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. If you need me and I'm not here, I do have my address listed in the staff registry, so you can grab it from there if you want.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah, I'm sure the rest of the staff wouldn't have a problem with it either. And with that, you two begin to make your way out of the manor You grabbing a copy of the registry of the
Yeah, as a draft,
servant
just in
registry.
case.
As you leave, getting back in the car, taking a little drive down the road. Where are you going?
Gonna try and go to the
Rupert Top? Or
the Mr.
Rupert's home?
Smigma house.
Smigma.
Also, my phone is gonna die any second.
As you approach, he is not home. All the lights are out. And you cannot get anyone's attention. You may have to come back at a different time. Looking at your watches, respectively, it is like 2, 3 in the morning. He's probably asleep.
I'm tired.
Yeah, I didn't realize what time it was. Alright, Miss Wilds. You should probably retire for the evening.
Okay. Returning
More like morning now. Goddamn.
returning your way to the office. You make it up the 2 flights of stairs. You round to the corner, and you can see leaving your office. There's a man in the distance. Can't quite make him out. Walking out of your office, sees the 2 of you, and begins to sprint away.
I'm running after him!
Damn.
Well, we're gonna take a break.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Alright. Like a half an hour break?
Roughly, yeah.
Okay, I'll put my
Right
phone
here.
on the charger. Let the dogs out because they're screaming at us.
I'm gonna stand up. My pierogies are gonna be ready soon.
Pierogies!
I'm really excited.
I'm jealous.
Pierogies.
I'm a little mad that I ate the rest of the cheese that was left that I could have shredded on top of it.
Oh, and then fried bacon.
I got. Oh, I wish I had bacon. Grocery shopping tomorrow.
Grocery shopping tomorrow. Okay,
Alrighty.
so we're gonna take a little break.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
And break. I fucking.
we're back. Just gonna leave the music going slightly in the background. I'll lower it a little. Not that low. Low, off, no, low. So, when we left off, the two of you have seen a mysterious individual leaving your office
We took Jace.
and have taken to the chase.
Okay, what does the individual look like from afar?
From where you are, you cannot see. He's cast in shadow, taller individual running.
Would shadow count as dark or like darkness or dim light? Because I could see perfectly fine in that.
Oh, you could. Looks male, running away. It's about best you can tell with the speed that happens, you know.
That's fine.
Just trying to get this like a smidgen quieter.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure in case you know you don't have dark vision.
Yeah. All right. So as you go running, the figure takes off down the stairs. You's chasing behind. They go out the back door. The two of you's
How far ahead are they?
a good 40 feet.
Okay, so I'm gonna cast Dancing Lights. It's cantrip, and it can go up to 120 feet. And
Okay.
when I cast it, there's 4 globules that pop up right around them.
Okay. They pop around. You notice the person has sort of ashen hair. Is wearing a longer coat. They are running. It's hard to pick out details at this sporadic rate of going off your passive perception. And as they get to the end of the alleyway that you came out into, they go to knock over a stack of barrels and need the two of you to make acrobatic rolls.
23.
Oh no. Acrobatics? That's dex, right?
Yes.
That's a 14.
14. Mr. Graves, you jump over the barrels, just clearing Petunia. You have to take a couple seconds to weave through them. You know, as a dwarf, you can't really jump over a barrel. That would just be crazy. As
269-year-old.
Hey, that's considered young.
you continue down the street a bit, and they duck down a different alley. You two follow behind. There's about 20 feet between the two of yous now. As you round the corner, you see them go through a door. You get up to it, Mr. Graves, and you hear a kerthunk on the other side. You go to try the door, and it's stuck. I need you to make a strength check to open it.
Oh no!
I'll head him off on around the other side.
It's an
around the building.
11.
An 11. You hit the wall. You hit the door. It doesn't budge. Give me another one.
Oh no. 13.
Oh, give me another one.
Oh no. 12.
12. Okay, stop.
Yeah, because it's getting worse.
You can't get through the door. You have to decide to go back and follow behind Petunia now. Petunia, as you round the building, you can see them pop out of the building into the rainy road, and they are taking off in the other direction. They turn, see you, and just go into a full sprint. You chasing behind. I need you to make just a straight dex check to catch up to them.
That would be a straight dex?
Yeah.
That will be I think a 20, but let me check. Yeah, that is a 20. Mod 20.
A mod 20. You catch up to them, and you're about 5 feet behind. What do you do?
I whip off my boa. Freeze! And I fucking whip him with it.
Okay. Make a strength check to try and grapple him with the boa.
Ooh, 17.
17.
Ooh.
You know, 1 second to roll for this individual. Oh, they fail.
Yes.
So you whip them, and you hear just a ow as they whack their nose off the street.
And I picture like I whip to catch them by the heel and like
Yeah. Just grab one heel and pull them back, and they face plant to the ground.
And I just start winding it back in with them still attached.
Okay, at this point, Mr. Graves, you approach, and there is Petunia with her extended boa holding on to this individual.
I pull out my pistol and walk up.
Oh.
Yeah, I got a pistol.
I'm like, whips. Yeah.
And I walk up to them and like standing over them and gonna kind of push them over with my foot so I can look at their face.
As the person rolls over, you both identify the individual immediately. It is Mr. Montgomery.
We found him!
Montgomery, what the fuck? What are you doing here? What were you doing in our office? His office.
He looks up at the two of you and goes, I'm sorry, I did not mean anything. I didn't mean to scare you. I didn't want any ill will towards anyone. I don't want Mrs. Montgomery to know what happened, and I caught word from Sweet Tony that you two were investigating my disappearance, so I thought I would lay a clue to help you find where to go.
Well, guess what? We found you. Mind telling us what the hell happened?
What's wrong?
They were just like partially looking at Clint and partially looking.
No. What did you say, Petunia? I didn't catch what you said.
Well, we found you. That's more than enough of a clue for me. Now, what the hell is going on?
I think I could better explain if I took you to the research lab.
Research lab? Is it at the hospital?
No. I left you a clue so you could find it, but I'll just lead you there.
Cuff him.
Cuff him.
That way he can't get away as easily?
That's yeah, okay. I pull out handcuffs and I cuff him in the front though.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I take the boa and untie it from his ankle. Sorry about that, but we thought we had an intruder.
He nods and just, that's understandable. Do you just have a vehicle? Or
Yeah, it's back the way to the office.
Back at the office?
okay.
God damn it.
May have to stop for more gas.
The three of you now make your way to the car. Start it up, driving down. And he doesn't give you an address. He tells you lefts and rights and whatnot until you end up on Burke Vendor Ave, or as you two better know it, the Fish Market.
Burke Ender?
Burke Vendor Ave.
It's getting awfully fishy around here.
Oh, it's a funny one, Miss Wilds.
Okay. Which building?
The warehouse right there.
Okay, so
And as you stop, it is a large warehouse. He walks up. The door is wide open.
I was gonna say before we left the car, I'm gonna do an insight check when he was like that building,
All right,
just
go
to see
for
if
it.
he seems like
Go for it.
honest.
Yeah.
It's not. Poop. It's only a 9.
Oh, jeez.
Tony Graves, the world's worst detective.
I really am. I told you this was a bad idea.
This is like a spoof of a noir film.
What are you talking about?
Sidekick's doing all the work.
It's
With-
so bad.
With great characters like Rupert Smigma.
And Petunia Wilds. Star
I
Drag
like-
Queen of the North.
I like Petunia Wilds. Tony Graves just sucks.
So, as you two
Petunia should be the detective.
enter behind Mr. Montgomery, you are in a warehouse. A nice, clean warehouse. Papers everywhere. He stands there and just goes, "This place will explain it better than I can. There's a part missing. I don't know what happened. I sort of
Part
woke up.
missing from what?
I woke up outside of here. And, I know this is my research lab, but I don't know why I woke up outside. So
Okay.
Were you taken from your office?
I don't recall. And he just sort of like begins to look around, sort of confused.
I would like to perform a medicine check to see if he's cut up at all, to see if his blood might be the blood that's on the window.
All right, go for it.
13.
13. Mr. Montgomery seems very, very clean. Like, too much. Looking him over, his skin is fresh. There's no, like, pockmarking on his face from puberty or anything.
He's alone.
He just seems like...
You know what?
He just seems way too tidy for a man of his age. And looking around, there's wires and boxes and tubes everywhere.
Let me see your belly button.
He lifts up his shirt a bit, and he's got a little belly button.
Okay, never mind.
A little tiny belly button.
Is that drawn on?
Is that drawn on?
He starts rubbing his belly over the belly button, and no, it's a real belly button.
Make it sure. Never be too careful.
But the two of you standing in this warehouse, I'll get you to roll investigation. Looking around.
Come on, dice.
The stale air permeating your nose.
26.
26 and 15. Petunia?
Yeah, 15.
15, okay. Smell of the air in here, Petunia, is very gross. It smells like, well, it smells like the bathroom in your guy's office. It's gross smelling, and as you look around, there are bits of person all over the place. Some of them being like dissected open, and some have been sort of like pinned up on a board.
And it's actual people? Like humanoids?
No, like pieces, like hands are being splayed out, and like a
But
liver
humanoid
that's being
bits
cut up.
and pieces. Not like, because we're in the fish market, it's not fish.
It's not fish. Best you can tell, it's from a humanoid, yes, or maybe something else.
I take one look at that, and I draw from one of my knee-high boots, one of my gold-handled scimitars, and draw it across Montgomery's neck. What are you doing here?
He just looks around. I don't recall.
This is your research building, and you don't even know what the fuck is going on here.
He starts pining over some papers that are on a table, which is what you begin to notice. All these different papers laid out on this table. Looking at them, some of them have like page markers on them, and like the titles of chapters at the top. Give me a wisdom roll, please.
Well, they're just
No, just
Petunia.
Petunia.
Okay. I'm gonna follow suit and pull my pistol out again.
11.
11. Looking them over, you can't make a connection looking at them.
On the table where the notes are, do I see the 3 books that were missing?
Give me a wisdom roll.
While she's doing that, could I do a detect magic on this place?
Go for it. What'd you get?
Well, that's an at 1. It was a 13, and then it rolled off the lip of the paper.
Nat 1. You begin to look at all the papers on the table, like given your investigation roll from earlier. As you look them over, that smell. That's not the smell of all these pieces everywhere. The smell that's in the air, that gross smell, is coming from somewhere else. And as you start to look around, there's like a crumpled body sort of against the western side of the interior here that's just being like charred. And it looks like it's being impacted into the wall, and it's charred. And walking over and looking over, you can see on the east side there is a hole in one of the upper windows of the warehouse.
Okay, so on the east side was the body, and on the west side was a window with a hole?
Yep.
Okay.
Looks like somebody shot a fireball in here.
Petunia, casting detect magic, right?
Yep.
All around you, there's various forms of restoration on implements and whatnot, and like a hint of necromancy.
Yep, that makes sense.
As you begin to poke around a bit, you can hear like this mild hum from underneath you.
Okay.
Mr. Graves, as you stand there, what's your wisdom? Or intelligence, sorry.
My intelligence is 15 or +2.
Okay. As you stand there, it's obvious to see that these two items are probably connected. So I'll leave you with that for a moment.
Okay, so the shard body in the window?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna investigate the body.
Okay. Petunia, that hum that you can feel, you see like a little hatch door when you start to feel that, a good 10, 15 feet away from you, that you could go investigate.
I'm gonna go investigate.
I just shout over my shoulder, be careful. Shout if you need me.
Petunia Wilds is always careful.
As you pop it open, there's a smaller like room down there. Descending down, it is quite dark, but with your dark vision, you can see all these large tubes leading up and tubes and wires leading off the top of them. You could try and find a light switch to brighten up the room, but looking at these larger canisters, you can't see anything inside them.
They're test tubes, though, aren't they?
It's hard to tell. Even with your dark vision, you can't see through whatever's inside.
I'll look for a light.
Okay. Mr. Graves, did you roll for investigation on the body and the hole? What'd you get?
That's another nat 1.
A nat 1. Maybe you should switch a dice out.
Yeah, that one's going, because it's the same one. It's going away for a little while.
You begin to investigate the body, and it is a charred remain, and as you like begin to poke at it, you start poking at a spot, and it sort of crumples in on itself before you stop. Petunia, poking around, you eventually find like a hanging light bulb with a little cord on it.
Okay.
You click it on, and you can see all these tubes are filled with what look like not completely formed Mr. Montgomerys. There's a good
fucking shit.
There's a good like 12 of them. Like good 12 tubes, and one of them is being emptied.
Oh dear. Like shattered emptied or like procedure emptied?
Sort of a procedure. Like the front of the tube that it is, the canister that it is, has opened up into two panels, like two doors opening up.
Okay.
And
So
the
it's
floor
almost
around
like
it's all like sticky.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I immediately go back upstairs. Two things. One, I don't think this is the real Dr. Montgomery. Two, why I think that, there is test tubes downstairs with copies, clones of him. They're not fully formed yet, but they are there.
I knew he looked weird. Is he still in the room?
Yep. He's standing there looking over the papers.
And one of the test tubes open. Not smashed open. Open like it has been opened for something to get out of.
I'm gonna go stand back over by Mr. M and say, Petunia, can you take a look at that body over there? Do you think that might be the real Mr. Montgomery?
I'll just go give him a dandy good check. Walk over.
Give me a medicine roll.
19.
Oh, thank God.
19. Looking at it, the charred figure is beyond like facial features and hair, but
Mm-hmm.
it's about the right height, right hand size, and physically it is the right size. But it doesn't look like them because everything's sort of burnt off.
Is there anything salvageable? Is there any clothes? Is there possibly a wallet in there?
No, everything is burnt off.
Okay.
There is a chance that maybe the underside of him might have something, but you'd have to move the whole charred remain.
Tail end of my detect magic. Is there any magical property to the burn or to the body itself?
There is a hint remaining that the charred body is from some sort of magic.
Somebody shot a fireball in there.
But nothing else in here is on fire. Nothing else is scorched. It's just him. He's the only thing that seemed to have burned in here.
Okay, maybe it's not a fireball spell, but it's definitely a fire spell of some sort.
So is there an easy way up to that window, or is it...
You could, looking around, there's boxes along the side, and you could climb up some of them to go look out it.
I'm gonna kind of stack them a little nicer and crawl up and see if I can investigate the window, if it looks like it was forced open from the outside, if it was...
Climbing up, you notice all these boxes have the company logo for RS Shipping.
Oh.
You get to the top, and looking at the body and the hole in the window, you can see, sort of lining up, there is a bridge in the distance. That's the only thing that kind of lines up. Beyond that, it'd be, skyscrapers way far beyond that. That is the next, the bridge is the first immediate point that it could be, given the angle and everything.
For just like...
For if somebody was to shoot something through here.
I'll kind of shout down and say, there's a bridge over there. Could be a long distance shot. Could be someone shooting magic through. Might be worth looking at.
All right, we should look at that in a minute. I draw my second scimitar and point them both, not like on him, but like, you move, I'm gonna slice and dice you.
Oh, you're getting serious here.
What do you remember? Who's your wife's name?
He looks at you and goes, Monica.
Did we get
Nope.
full name? So I just take that at the face value. Okay. The cleanliest of your servants. He prides himself on making everything spit spock. What's his name?
I think his name was Bartleby?
Yeah. Checks out.
Okay, the tall, dark-skinned elf.
We didn't get his name.
We didn't get his name either?
No.
We're really bad detectives, you know that?
Okay.
Okay.
The little gnome.
What's the RS on these boxes stand for?
That's. And he looks at you, kind of like upset that he has to explain it. And he just goes, "That's my father-in-law's shipping company. This is his building. I'm
What? Okay, it's your father-in-law. What's his name?
Rupert Smigma."
Okay. You gotta see why I'm being cautious.
Did you find something down there? And he begins to approach the hole in the ground, the patch on the ground.
Might not be a good idea.
That might not be a good idea. You don't know what's down there?
I don't recall.
There are test tubes of copies of you in them.
Oh. Oh, okay.
And I have a very, very bad feeling that
Did you ever have acne as a child?
He sort of like feels his face and he's like, I don't think I did.
Did you ever
I don't recall.
scars, stitches, burns?
Well, there was one time when me and Mrs. Montgomery were, we were playing polo and they had taken a mallet to the head and it left a rather unpleasant scar on my forehead.
Lift your hair up. Push your hair back.
He lifts it up, there's no scar.
Yeah,
well, I got a bad
you
feeling.
ain't the real one.
Oh.
I have a bad
What-
feeling that
And he begins to look around and you see his brain's making some connections. And it's at this point that Petunia, from behind you, you can hear a groan and a mumbling coming from inside the hatch.
Oh boy.
oh, I think we're about to have some company. Dr. Montgomery, stay back.
As he stands there, he's like, what is it? What's down there? At which point, two hands come bursting out of the floorboards around you, and these disgusting,
Oh no.
warped Montgomerys come pulling themselves out of the floorboards.
Oh no.
And I'm not going to ask for initiative. I'm just going to go off of whoever has the higher dex, because it's only the two of you.
Fair.
So,
16.
17.
okay. So we will go Petunia, Mr. Wild, or Mr. Graves, sorry, and then the weird-looking Montgomerys.
Ooh,
So, Petunia, there are two of them coming out of the floorboards at you. What do you do?
Well, as soon as I see that, I just take my first scimitar and I just slash at its hands to hopefully maybe cut them off.
Alright, give me an attack roll.
That's a 16 to hit.
16 hits. Give me damage.
That is 7 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
And then I'm going to make an attack with the other scimitar because I have extra attack. And that'll be a 21 to hit.
21 to hit. That hits.
nice.
Obviously.
And then 9 points of slashing damage.
9 points of slashing. Alright.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Oop.
And with that, I'm going to hold my reaction to see if they attack me.
Well, may not be the original, but you know, we can always still give them back and be like, well, we found technically your husband-ish.
Yeah, we got that, I guess.
Give us some money. I have to pay my rent before I'm thrown out on the street.
Mr. Graves, you are up on the boxes right now
Yep.
by the window looking down. Petunia has these two creatures prying their ways out of the floorboard. You can see a third one making its way up the ladder very slowly. What do you do?
Very slowly from where she is, like up the hatch ladder.
Yes.
Okay.
She's out of the hole.
I'm just gonna kind of like kneel down and I'm gonna shoot the one that she's engaged with.
Okay.
And that should give me the sneak attack bonus because she is engaged with it, right?
I'll give it to you, yeah.
Ooh.
So for first I got a hit. Ooh! So that's gonna be 25 to hit.
25 hits.
So that's 1d10 plus 3d6. So that's gonna be 12, and I'm allowed to reroll one of the dice. Oh, that was worse. 13. Wait, sorry. 16 damage.
16 damage, okay. That one's looking quite messed up.
Good.
It is now their turn. The three approaching you, Miss Wilds, all go to grab at you, making various clawing motions. each one of them looks slightly deformed from how Montgomery should look. Does a 16 or a 15 hit?
They both hit.
They both hit. All right. You take 10 points of bludgeoning damage as their untamed, lumbering hands just smack into you.
Okay, so with that, I use my reaction with Hunter's Prey. I can attack it because it hit me or it missed. It made an attack on me, so I can make a reaction attack.
All right, go for it.
Damn, you're the boss.
Natural 20.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I'm gonna take the 2 dice method instead of trying to double just the 1.
That's fair.
I like doing that way. When you get a one, it hurts real bad.
10 points of slashing damage to the first one that attacked.
Woo!
Okay, so the first one you attacked with 2 slashes now hits you. You slash it back and lob its head clean off.
That'll teach you to touch the boa.
You can see now there are a veritable bounty of them underneath. Probably the remaining 11 coming up.
Oh my
at you.
god!
Here.
But it is your go, Petunia.
I'm still engaged, right?
Yes.
Because I've got the other 2.
Yep.
Are these technically fiends?
No.
Then I'm dead.
No, they are not fiends.
They're creepy.
The Queepy folk.
Yeah.
The quippy.
Creepy.
Okay, so I'm going to make 2 slashes at the next one.
Go for
Just
it.
gonna hack and slash.
Hack and slash.
That's a 20, mod 20.
Mod 20, that hits.
That will be 8 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
And mod 16, so that's 22.
That hits.
And that'll be 10 points of slashing damage.
Nice.
Oh, I'm just fucking whipping it out now.
Whoosh,
Here it
whoosh.
comes.
Petunia lets off her veritable blows. Mr. Graves, as you're standing up there, you can see them all gathering up. Some of them aren't at the ladder. They seem to be like gathering up around Petunia underneath.
Ugh.
That's not
Go for it.
Yeah, I kind of yell at her and say, you may want to find a new spot. And then I'm gonna cast Fairy Fire. And are they... Okay, so the ones that are below her,
Yep.
are they within a 20-foot cube with the ones that are at her?
I don't think Fairy Fire goes around corners. You'd have to check that.
It's just a 20-foot cube. It doesn't say anything else about
Okay,
that.
well then, I'll allow it. Yeah. They'd all be within 20 feet.
All of them?
Yeah.
Okay. So they all have to roll a dex saving throw.
Dex saving throw. What are they trying to beat?
11.
An 11.
I'm just a dinky little rogue that doesn't actually do magic.
Arcane Trickster.
No, I'm not one of those. I just have it from my my race.
Oh.
2 of them save.
Okay.
The rest fail.
So the ones that fail, we have advantage on.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna take a quick look to see if the copycat Dr. M that seems okay, if he's
Yeah.
still present.
Yes, he is just like taking cover on the other side of the table.
Good, good. I was like, just try and keep hidden.
The deformed Montgomerys begin to attack the floorboard underneath Petunia.
Can I, because that was an action to do Fairy Fire, can I just do a bonus action try and shoot with my pistol without the benefits?
I'll allow it, yeah.
Okay.
For one of the ones attacking Petunia.
So that's 14.
14 hits.
Okay, so that's... now the one attacking her, is it one of the ones that failed?
Yes.
Okay. 21 damage.
21 damage. That one is dead. You shoot it and it pierces through its clavicle and just sort of blows its chest cavity out. Or sorry, shoulder blade. It blows its chest cavity out.
Cool.
Damn.
So how many are there?
Left?
12 left?
There was 11 that were down. There was 12 down there.
There-
We're taking out 2.
There are 10 left. There are
Okay.
9 down there.
Okay. So
Is
now it's
you-
their turn.
Yes. As you stand there, Petunia, you can hear the floorboards getting scratched at. Beam gives out and you go crashing down. And the floorboard, all the floor around you comes down as well. And you see all the deformed Montgomery starting to pull themselves out. And you are completely surrounded right now.
Oh my gosh.
But it is your turn.
Well, this isn't good. Well, I take the closest one and I start slashing and hacking. That will be a 14 to hit.
14 hits.
Oh, thank God. Ooh, that's 11 points of slashing damage.
Yeah.
And then another natural 20.
Nice.
Good job.
Fuck me, man.
Keep it up.
6 is 15 points of fucking slashing damage.
Nice. Okay. And with that, it is Mr. Graves' turn. Excuse
Okay,
me.
can I still see them like fairly well from my
Oh yeah,
spot?
you can see them a lot better now. Petunia is in a basement.
Okay. So I'm just gonna shoot at one. I'm just gonna keep stuck at my spot for now and shoot at one of the ones that's engaged with her. That I would know is because they would glow if they were the ones that failed. So I'm gonna shoot at one of the glowing ones.
All right.
So that gives me advantage. Oh yeah, remember it's with advantage if they're glowing.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Is Petunia a hunter?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. With giant killer.
Okay.
Did
All
I
right.
do that wrong?
No, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
So that's gonna be 18 to hit.
18 hits. I was just clarifying you didn't use Horde Breaker.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. I got giant killer.
Okay.
14 damage.
14 damage. Okay. So some of them are looking pretty beat up, but they are not worse for wear on the whole. But it is their go now, unless you have something else you can do. No?
No, I got nothing else.
Okay. Miss Petunia, you are surrounded.
Yeah, this is gonna hurt a little bit.
What is your armor class?
15.
15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 of them land hits against you.
Oh, dear God.
Ooh.
And you take 31 points of bludgeoning damage
Are you dead now?
No!
as they begin to punch the ever-loving piss out of you.
Oh my god, I only have 30 hit points. That would have killed me.
Petunia, you looking bad?
You said 31, right?
Yep.
Wow, that fucking hurt. I have 11 hit points left.
Oh my god. We're not surviving this. Well, you're not surviving this.
Oh, thanks a lot.
I'm just gonna jump out this window right here.
It's just, see ya, bitch.
Petunia, you do have your reaction.
Oh, yeah, I can attack one.
Oh yay, one.
Which, do so with advantage.
I'm gonna attack the one that I already was slashing at.
Oh, okay.
So no advantage then?
Yeah. Yeah, you can have it.
Oh wow, I rolled a 16 and a 19, so mod 19.
Nice. Roll damage.
Not so great damage. That is 8 points of slashing damage.
8
It's pretty-
points.
I mean, that's good for fucking a reaction attack.
Yeah. You cross your scimitars across the thing's face, and it just sort of flumps over, and the head separates as it hits the ground.
Why are you all so angry?
But it is your turn now.
Some help would be goddamn nice.
I'm trying.
That fucking hurt.
I'm more of a long distance helper.
They're touching the boa way too much. I am going to take this time to cast Cure Wounds on myself at level 2.
Okay.
So that's 2d8 plus my modifier.
Nice.
7 and 6 are 13, 16 points of healing.
Oh, you got half of it back.
Okay.
Not 1,127, just 27. Jesus, I'm unstoppable.
You heal yourself. The glow lets off. It is Mr. Graves' turn.
Going after a shiny.
Okay.
Ooh, nat 20.
Nat 20.
Nice.
What was the other one?
11.
Okay.
You thought it was a 1?
I just thought it would be funny.
Oh.
Both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
11. And then that doubles my,
A lot of dice rolling going on over there.
26. 1 second, I got to roll 2 more. 26, 40. Ooh, 35.
35. You know what?
Fucking damn.
Because it's a nat 20 and you went over by a fair bit, you shoot, and one of the ones untouched by Petunia, you just blow through one ear out the other and destroy the one beside it as well.
Yes! So it's 2 down.
2 down.
Holy shit! It just like splatters across my face. I think I need to yell at you more often.
It is now the disgusting, deformed creatures. 7 of them left.
That's still too many.
That's still too many.
6 of them did more damage than I could take.
5 of them hit.
Oh god.
No, that's not right.
Not right in a good way?
No, I'm using a digital dice roller. I accidentally rolled a D8 instead of a D6.
Oh.
Hey now, whoa!
Still not the best. 29 points of bludgeoning damage.
I fall. I drop to 0.
Oh no.
Okay. Petunia Wilds is down.
I cough up a little bit of blood.
The endless boa just spewing everywhere.
Did you say I loved you?
Yes.
Petunia!
It is now Mr. Graves' turn.
I'm gonna shoot somebody.
Okay, go for it. With advantage.
Oh, good. So that's gonna be 22.
22 hits.
5, 10, 16, 20. 21 damage.
21 damage. I'll give it to you.
Jesus Christ.
So another one down.
You shoot it, another one goes down. Goes like right through the what's it?
The throat.
The
Thing. Voice box.
yeah.
Esophagus. Trachea.
Trachea. Goes right through the trachea. Sounds distorted as it dies.
You killed my secretary!
It is their turn. They all turn to look at you now and are making their way towards you. They can't. Yeah, they can't climb up the boxes. They're not coordinated enough, so they just start beating the bottom ones.
Oh boy. This could be bad. Okay, so is that their turn?
Yeah, just give me 1 second. Okay. One of the boxes breaks out, but it's not enough to knock you down. But if they get another one, you will fall to the ground.
Oh no.
Petunia, I need you to make a death saving throw.
Roll them up, 10.
I was gonna say above 10 is a save. Right?
Get these nat 20s.
A nat 20 is.
I rolled a 2.
No.
Oh, that is a fail.
You hear another gasp of.
Coughing up a bit of blood.
Oh shit, Petunia.
Petunia, no.
No, Petunia.
Mr. Graves, it is your turn. They are all surrounding the bottom of you.
Okay. There's still gotta be like a shiny one, right?
Oh, there's several.
There are several.
It doesn't last. It doesn't last super long, but it lasts a while.
Minute.
Yeah. So you're still. There's still a couple training. There's only one that isn't right now.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's gonna be 25 to hit.
That hits.
Oh god, damn, you're rolling those. Shit. Shit all around. I rolled 3 ones.
Oh.
Thank God I'm allowed to re-roll 2 dice. Okay, so that one I have to keep. Okay, so these 2. So 1 plus 6 is 7, and then I get to re-roll 1 more. 7, 12, 15 damage. Yeah, much better.
So you shoot at one that's glowing slightly, and it goes through the shoulder enough to like remove it a bit, but it's still going towards you.
Okay, so I am. Okay, so they're about to break a box. Is there a lip on the window?
Enough to hold on to, but not enough to like stand on. Like you'd have to dangle from it.
So if I was to be dangling from it and shooting, would that give me disadvantage?
If you were to shoot at the ones that you have advantage on, it would just be a straight roll.
Okay. I can use... How big is this warehouse?
Approximately 50 by 100. Maybe 120.
Okay, as a bonus action I can use dash, which means with my movement and that I can do double speed, right?
Yeah.
So I can move 60 feet away.
Yeah. So you can get to where Mr. Montgomery is, or you can get to Petunia.
I'm gonna go to Petunia.
Okay. So, dashing down a couple boxes, leaping over their heads, and closing the space to Petunia. You are right there with her.
Okay.
They are turning their attention and making their way back towards you.
Okay.
They get down and to you, and they're all going to make attacks at you now.
Let's go hurt.
What's your armor class?
14.
14?
Yeah.
4 of them hit.
Oh no, I'm gonna die.
Boy, it'd be sure nice if that doctor had some healing potions.
You take 17 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay, wait, I'm gonna use Uncanny Dodge for one of the attacks. So which one hit me for the hardest?
One got you for 6.
Okay, so that one's knocked down to 3, so it's gonna be 14 points.
Just from slightly outside of the hole you're in now, you just hear Mr. Montgomery go, "Do you want me to help?"
Yes! For God's sake, help us!
Okay. You hear him running up behind you, as he sort of like slips between some of them underneath and like falls in the hole with you. He sort of scurries off into the room and is going through various things. Petunia, I need you to make another death saving roll, please.
Natural 20.
Yeah, that's 2 saves.
Hell
Yup.
yeah.
And if you get back up, you'll have a hit point.
Oh.
Singular hit point.
Yep.
You can do a bunch of damage before you're knocked unconscious again.
Yeah. And then I have to re-roll my successes again.
Yep. But it is back to Mr. Graves.
Okay, I'm just gonna shoot somebody in front of me. That's shiny.
Okay. There are a couple.
That's shiny.
22.
22 hits.
Oh, much better. 13, 16, 19 damage.
19 damage.
He dead?
One of them goes down.
Yeah.
You catch it in the leg, and it falls into the hole and cracks its neck on the way down.
And then as a bonus action, I'm just gonna whip out one of my daggers and chuck it at somebody else.
Okay.
And it's no bonuses, but
Yeah.
Oh, thank God though. Okay, so that's gonna be 17 to hit.
That hits.
Wow. A D4 dagger damage.
D4. 3 damage!
Better than nothing.
One of the ones not messed up now has a dagger in its eye.
Cool. That's all I needed in line.
It is now the deformed Montgomerys.
Oh,
They get
no.
closer to you now.
This is gonna hurt.
It just might.
There's only 5 left though, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Maybe only 2 will hit this time.
Maybe.
Only 3 of them hit.
Okay.
How many hit
Cool.
points you got?
16.
For 15 points of
Who hit me
damage.
the hardest?
One of them got 7 off on you.
So, uncanny dodge, so it knocks it down by 3, so instead of 15, it's 12. So I have 3 hit points.
They're just punching the hell out of you with open hands, deformed limbs, and you miss one of the hits. Or not miss, you just get grazed.
They're kind of like,
As a slimy fist grazes your face.
Ew.
Mr. Montgomery runs up to
at this point, I'm like, we could really use that help.
Petunia. I need you to make a con roll for me, please, Petunia.
Okay.
Just a basic constitution roll.
That is a 14.
14. Good enough. As Mr. Montgomery slides up, pulls your head up close to you, up close to his chest, and begins pouring an elixir into your mouth. You heal for 12 points. And you wake up, and he has chipped one of your teeth.
Oh no!
Like Montgomery or the blobs?
Like Mr. Montgomery giving you the potion, chipped one of your teeth.
I'm thankful. But you know how expensive it is to get a tooth crowned?
He just smiles slightly. It is your turn.
You're like, you have a hand for that.
Now I'm fucking mad. Oh, I'm covered in slime. I'm hurt. I think I admitted my love to somebody. I'm not quite sure. And I like lunge with both scimitars.
Mr. Graves like, I didn't hear nothing.
Okay, give me attack rolls.
One is a 13.
That hits.
Oh, good.
And that was a low hit. But that was 11 points of slashing damage.
Okay. One of the ones that you messed up before you had gone down, you get up and you just lunge a scimitar into its chest. You turn to hit another one.
Is this other one glowing?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna roll for advantage. Oh wow, I'm so glad that was much better. Not really, but it's a 13 to hit.
That hits.
So the one that he just stabbed in the chest, that one dead?
Yes.
Okay, so we're down to
And
4.
then I do 8 points of slashing damage to the next one.
We see.
Right through the stomach and up. You can see like the tip of your scimitar coming out its clavicle. That one's dead as well.
Awesome.
There are 3 left. Mr. Graves, it is your turn.
All right. Is there any shinies left?
The 3 remaining are shiny.
Cool. Yeah, but they're not the cool shinies like Pokemon.
No, they just glow.
19.
19 hits.
Okay, so that's 5, 11, 14. Reroll that one. One better. 13, 17, 20 damage.
20 damage.
I take out
That
my
one.
other dagger because I only got 2. And I chuck it at another guy in the face.
Okay, the one that you had ducked the dagger in initially, you shoot him, he goes down.
Cool.
Give me a roll for that other dagger.
17.
17 hits.
Okay, so it's a little d4 here. 3 damage!
Okay. Almost as if it was a good idea. You throw it, and instead of getting it in the eye, you get it like in the mouth.
Ugh.
You can hear it gurgling and trying to like form words around the dagger.
Ew. Sorry, bud. Sorry, but you attacked first.
It is now the deformed Montgomerys. And
2.
3 left.
2 left.
2 left.
I can survive this.
Oh yeah, we totally can.
Mr. Graves, one of them attacks you
Oh
for 4 points of bludgeoning damage.
I can't even dodge! It's 2 points! I have 1 point left!
You just wiggle to the side, you get hit, knocked to the ground, blood dripping from your mouth.
I'm like kneeling down, like arm resting, pistol on my hanging on my side, like we got this, Petunia.
The real Mr. Montgomery behind you, like trying to help you stand up and also cower behind you. Petunia, is your turn.
Okay. This ends here. You want to see how you stick a knife in somebody's mouth? This is how you stick a knife in somebody's mouth. I take the scimitar, toss it, so it's like dagger stabby,
Okay.
I guess, and I just cram it beside the dagger that Graves put in already.
Okay. You have advantage.
Mod 16 to hit.
That hits.
That is 7 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
And then my second one, I'm going to take the second scimitar and I'm going to try and lop its head off.
Alright.
That is a mod 18 to hit.
That
Woo!
hits.
Another 7 points of damage though. I only rolled a 1 for both times.
So you swing, you get the scimitar in the mouth, you get the other one in its sternum, but it's still going slightly. It's not very strong, you know. Some death throes left in it, sort of deal. It is their turn. The one that you hit tries to attack you, but it clearly doesn't have the strength anymore. Just sort of like slumps its gross arms against your skin. Mr. Graves, the other one lumbers a little closer to you and just like grazes your skin, trying to hit you.
1 hit point, I'm dead.
No, it is your turn though. I skipped you. That's my bad.
With the little energy I have left, I lift up my pistol and I shoot the one that's right in front of me.
Okay.
16.
16 hits.
Holy shit.
Oh. So that's 19.
Oh.
Did I take it? I'll take a chance. Oh, it was worse. 19, 20, 23 damage.
23 damage. Rule of cool here. You shoot it, the one close to you, you shoot it, and as it goes through its head, you can just see the bullet going through, goes over Petunia's head, and goes into the eye socket of the one that she has pinned.
Oh,
And they are both dead.
dead. I just kind of like sit on the ground. like resting my gun in my lap.
Mr. Montgomery sits there and goes, I don't know what happened. I swear I don't know what happened here.
Well,
The main thing is, they're dead now.
Okay, I don't feel safe.
are there any other
You don't
tubes?
feel safe.
Looking around, there's no more tubes. Well, like, there's the 12, but they've all been opened in the same fashion.
Okay. From the inside, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think the best place to find answers would be with your father-in-law. But I think right now maybe we should just take you home.
Okay, you mentioned a bridge. Did you want to...
Sure. We'll go snag some coffee, take a small rest, and then we'll head over to the bridge.
Okay. The two of you make your way to a coffee shop just on the edge of the fish market. It's open all night. All sorts of people in there. A couple drunkards. You know, various friends of Mr. Graves and Petunia Wilds. Just give you nods as you come in. You sit down, just dripping of a little bit of ichor here and there. I'll let you guys have a short rest.
Good, because I'm already rolling. Oh, good. Almost full.
Almost full.
2 points off from full. I used up all my hit dice, and I'm 2 points off from full.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm 1 point off full.
That was scary. I did not think we were making that.
I have not been in a hairy situation like that since I was a wee lad.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been in a bad one like that. Are you sure you want to go on more missions with me there?
I think, no offense to you, Mr. Graves, but after we solve this mystery, I think I'm retired.
That's a very fair point, Mr. Company.
Murderers, criminals of all the sorts, I can deal with. They're just common crooks. But dealing with mutated copies of a man that we still don't know if we have the real one or not, that's a little too thick for my blood.
Fair, I've never seen anything like this. Even in all my years.
That you're gonna pay for. You're gonna pay for my retirement. You're gonna pay for my vacation.
I do owe you one.
Hell out of here. I'm gonna go perform somewhere else.
Okay. With that, you begin to venture back out. Rain picking up. You two make your way to the bridge. As you get on the bridge, I would like the two of you to roll an investigation check, please.
22.
I was gonna say 33. That's not
Sorry.
right. 23.
23. The two of you is looking around. The bridge is not high enough. You can see the warehouse in the distance. The bridge, like the roadway, is not high enough to get to a good vantage point. You would have to get up higher. You would have to climb to the top of one of the. Almost dropped what I was holding. Forgot the word. One of the main towers that holds the cables on. You have to climb up there.
I'll do it.
You'll do it?
You wait down here and keep an eye on Mr. M. I'm gonna climb up and take a look.
I ain't doing any climbing today.
Alright. Give me an athletics check, Mr. Graves.
Oh no. Only 2 acrobatics?
Nope.
Oh. Ooh. Ooh. That's an 8.
That's an 8. Mr. Graves gets about 10 feet off the ground on the slippery cables and tumbles off the bridge. Petunia, what do you do?
Catch my butt.
I try and I just take up the whip and I try and fucking catch her with the whip.
Okay, give me an attack roll.
That is a 18.
18. You take your bow off, you give it a quick whip, and just as Mr. Graves' foot clears, you catch his foot and you feel it tug as he's now dangling off the side of the bridge.
Don't you think we've had enough for a boat tonight?
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think we all need to sleep because clearly you can't climb a straight up tower. Right? Like pull them back up over the bridge.
I feel like there's some outside force messing with my life.
Montgomery, do you want to return home to your wife?
Yeah, I can do that. If you guys wouldn't mind dropping me off.
No, we're gonna make you walk. You're clearly got a target on your back, and we're gonna make you walk alone in the streets. Of course, we're gonna take you.
I don't know. The three of you get back in the car, drive Montgomery home, drop him off. His wife comes running out the door at the sight of him, jumps in his arms, and she's a little bit taller. At this point, you've realized Miss Montgomery is a half orc. Mr. Montgomery is not like short, but a shorter humanoid, very human, and he catches her, and they're all lovey-dovey for a moment. Are you two feeling a little done?
I would like to continue this though because it's obviously not done.
But I am tired.
Okay.
It's been a long time since I've been upset willingly like this.
We will continue this. Wrap up.
My two pages and a little bit of notes.
We will wrap up Mr. Graves and Petunia Wilds as the best detective.
Yeah, Petunia Wild is the best detective. I'll try.
This one shot's turning into a 2-shot because I mean it's not. I don't think quarantine's gonna end next week, so
no. Okay.
Definitely
so
not.
we can definitely keep going with this.
We will.
I'm really liking Petunia Wilds as a character. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
I like her. She's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait for her drag queen persona to come out in the story. This could be great.
Oh.
Be like, wait a minute, you ain't a woman. It's like, you're damn right, honey.
We will come back in part 2.
Only good. I'll try and practice my noir detective voice, but I can't promise that.
I should watch a couple noir films.
Until then, goodbye.
Good night, everybody.